welcome to day 3. I'm here at Wessenden, I think it is. Yesterday's easy day means that I've got a reasonably easy day today as well. Just along through the reservoirs and then up onto the edges behind me. You probably can't see those. Okay. And just past the top reservoir. And the Pennine Way carries on down there. The string of reservoirs are all built by a consortium of wealthy mill owners from Marsden who needed the water for their business. So we've done the top reservoir now. I can just see the dam over in that direction. That's Wessenden Head Reservoir. The one behind me is Wessenden Reservoir, and just here you've got an example of why paths get wider. There's a reasonable path down the middle here, but in front of me people haven't liked walking in the groove, so they've walked on the edges. Then they've created 2 more grooves on those edges, so they're now walking on the tops of the bits to the left. And that's exactly how paths start off a footstep wide and end up 2.5 meters, 3 meters wide. Just coming down the final stretch to Wessenden Dam. Nice group of trees around the, looks like the control building for the dam. Oddly out of place here somehow, broadleaf trees here. Curlew just behind me then. Now the Pennine Way goes across the dam and up that track on the far wall, but I did hear something about that way being closed, so I've got to look out for diversions, which should be interesting. I've crossed over Wessenden Reservoir and it looks like there's some sort of sluice works here. And it looks like that's the way across there. So I've made it round to the far end of the track, which was closed at one time, I believe. And we're leaving this valley here, so that's the next reservoir down, which I haven't got a name for. So we're headed off straight along there and up the hill on the far side. About an hour and a half, hour and 3/4 in, I've left the valley behind me there with all the reservoirs in. I'm now heading up over the tops to a place where there's 2 more reservoirs, but the views are opening up now. If I could go that way, wide open spaces. And I've just seen somebody up ahead somewhere. I must be following them. I'm here at Black Moss Reservoir. The Pennine Way I've just followed came in that way, but in 1967 it came over that hill in the distance there, If you remember at the end of yesterday's video, I said I had to walk along the road for 2 miles to join the route that our guidebook was using, because that's where our instructions led to. So we walked on the road. From the road to that point over there is about 1.5 miles, 1.75 miles, and there are 6 fords marked on the map in that distance. And a ford in the peat here isn't something you drive through, it's something you sink in up to your knees, and it was a terrible journey. We didn't get here till lunchtime, and we'd left Dean Clough at about 8 o'clock, so it took us probably 4 hours to get across here, and we were mud up to our waists really. So we got here, we had lunch standing over by that dam, and we still had another 12-16 miles before we got to the youth hostel that we were staying that night. I can't remember the distance, but I'll put it on the screen. So we're heading off in that direction. So behind me there's Redbrook Reservoir, and the way goes on over the edge ridge right in front, or right at the back. Okay, I've crossed over the Standage cutting. I'm working my way up to Millstone Edge, which is sort of behind me. I'll show you the views everywhere. Just coming up to White Edge, and I think I came from the far skyline, the nick in the far skyline today. I've just been up Millstone Edge, or Standage, Millstone Edge, and then White Peak here. In 1967 I was walking with a colleague called Ian, and it was coming along here that I actually realised that different people have different speeds of walking, and his was a lot faster than mine. So I didn't see him for most of the day because he was always up ahead, and as soon as I reached him he'd have a rest, and as soon as I reached him he'd move on, and I'd just have to keep going. It takes quite a lot of time, quite a long time walking with people to actually realise what their different speeds are. Some people cope with it differently. I heard somebody yesterday saying, "I'm going on to the top, I'll wait for you, don't worry, I just don't like to stop." Well, that was obviously Ian, and it wasn't me. So going up to the trig point there, and then Roz is collecting me on the road between us and the television aerial. Okay, that's nearly the end of the third day. Roz is waiting for me down by the piles of gravel in the lay-by there. Tomorrow's journey is past the aerial and over the hill behind, and then on to a series of reservoir roads and paths. So another good day. Thanks very much for watching. Bye.